guys. So I'm Naomi, and today we're going to do a Yin Yoga practice. So for Yin, if you haven't practiced already, it's a slower practice within the sphere of yoga, and it's a passive practice. So we're not going to be activating the muscle groups. It's a much more gentle practice, suitable for a much more restorative style, and we'll be deeply stretching into the fascia, which is the network system that runs through the whole of the body. Kind of holds the organs and bones and everything together. So often in our usual yoga practice, we're able to stretch into the muscles, but sometimes we're not able to stretch deep enough to stretch through any tightness in the fascia. So that's what we'll be doing today in this practice. It's going to be mostly seated or lying, which is probably quite nice to hear. And the use of props can be super helpful to allow the body to completely relax into each of the postures. So I have some yoga props with me. I have a block. I'm sitting on a block. If you have any blocks, great. If you don't, you can substitute these for a stack of books or a stack of magazines. And then I also have a blanket and a bolster. And if you don't have a bolster, don't worry. You can simply roll a towel or roll a blanket to create this kind of soft cushioning for the body for different poses. So we're going to start with a little bit of grounding to begin with. So if you can find a comfortable seat, so that can be cross-legged, or if you want, it can be kneeling as well. And when you're ready, you can either close the eyes or have a soft gaze. So we're going to begin with taking 3 deep inhales and 3 deep exhales. So on your exhalation, you can sigh out as much or as little noise as you like, and we do it together. So inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, so let the weight of your legs and the weight of your seat completely melt into the mat at this stage. So let the ground support you. Just take a moment to notice how supported the body feels in this seated position. Notice the connection of the skin against the fabric of your trousers, your yoga pants. The connection of the skin pressing into the floor or any props. And then we start to lengthen through the spine. So slowly stacking one vertebrae on top of the other. Lengthening all the way to the crown of the head. Allow the shoulders to soften here. And in this moment, simply observe how your breath is without changing it at all. Notice the rhythm that the torso makes as you breathe. And note where the breath is located in your torso at the moment. So it might be the belly, it might be the chest. And then we're going to start to deepen the breath from here. So taking longer, deeper inhales and longer, deeper exhales. So as you inhale, allow the belly, the ribs and the chest to expand. And as you exhale, allowing all of the breath to fully release through the body. Inhaling, expanding through the whole of the torso. Taking a relaxed exhale. If you want to open the jaw a little with your exhale, that can be a super nice way to let the body drop and release just a little further. Taking just a few more breaths like this. We're going to try to remember this breath throughout our practice today. So this deeper breath can help us to still the mind, but it can also help us to access more within the body, within the torso. So we'll be breathing into any tensions and using the breath to help work through and breathe through these tensions. So whenever you're ready, you can slowly and gently open the eyes. So we're going to start our practice on all fours. So if you have been sitting on any props, just moving those out of the way for the moment. And then coming onto all fours. So we're going to do a few rounds of cat-cow, but we're going to connect back to this deeper breath. So we're very much moving to the pace of our own breath and trying to keep as full of breath as possible. So as we inhale, we're expanding deeply, and as we exhale, we can continue with this open mouth exhale, so it's completely relaxing and releasing breath. So inhaling, exhaling. If you want to sigh on the exhale, you can. Two more like this. And then we're going to make our way to a kneeling position. So, if you have a brick or your books to hand, you might want to take a hold of these. We're going to start with toe stretch. So we're stretching deeply into the soles of the feet, where we actually hold the densest part of fascia within the body. And often we can find if we open up this tissue in the feet, that actually it starts to open up the whole of the fascia and open the whole of the body. So we start with tucking the toes underneath the feet, and we bring our weight onto our heels. So this can already be quite intense through the back of the feet, and I don't recommend staying here for anybody that has had any injuries through any of the bones or any of the structure within the foot. However, to take any pressure off, we can use the block, and the block comes at different heights. So we just take a moment to check where our kind of challenge point is going to be. So where are you going to feel stretch but not pain? And then we can keep bringing height to take out tension. So you can bring the brick onto a different height, or alternatively bring more books in to layer up more height. So we're checking which height of knee creates a stretch that we will benefit from. So we're going to stay in this pose for approximately 1 minute. So finding your correct position for you, and then holding here. So if you want, you can close your eyes. And we come back to this full torso breath. So we're trying to encourage stillness of body. And it's within this stillness that the fascia can actually start to open. So when we keep moving the fascia, particularly with fidgeting or consistent moving, it's not getting the opportunity to really release. Using the breath to keep you still and steady. So we take just 3 more breaths here. And then whenever you're ready, you can lean forward and unhook the toes, and giving the toes a little tap. And then you can come off the brick for a moment. So we've stretched through the back of our feet, and we're now going to stretch in through our ankles, which often don't have the opportunity to be stretched in our usual kind of daily lives. So the full pose looks a little bit like this. We lift the knees and we stretch into the ankles this way. However, this does require a little bit of core support. So if you come here and you're already noticing that you're starting to shake a little, then we simply use the props to help aid us and enable us to be able to relax into the pose. So we're actually going to be doing the opposite with the brick. So with the toe stretch or the foot stretch, the higher the brick, the easier the pose. But here, the lower the brick, the easier the pose. So you can start with either less books or a lower height on your brick, and then maybe changing the height and finding which point is your challenge point, where you're going to receive stretch, but where you will not feel pain. So again, we're going to be here for approximately 1 minute. So find your correct position for yourself. And then we find stillness again. So coming back to your breath. And breathing through the whole of the torso. If you want to close the eyes, you can do that. So taking 3 more breaths here. And then whenever you're ready, you can move the prop from out of the way, coming back on towards the knees and having another little tap out. So we're going to make our way into the only standing position in Yin, and it is dangling pose. So you can make your way to standing any way that feels comfortable to you. We're going to bring our feet just a little bit wider than hip width apart. So sometimes it can be quite nice to have the bolster just in front of you. Alternatively, you can use 1 or 2 bricks. So we're going to be folding here. So you can either let the hands rest on the brick, or you can take a hold of either elbow, or you can let the hands rest on the bolster. So we're going to start with coming into a flat back, a tabletop position. And take a deep inhale here, lengthen through the whole of your spine from the tailbone to the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, allow yourself to hinge forward. Let the head be heavy. And we're going to be here for approximately 3 minutes. So come back to your full torso breath. Every time you inhale, find this length through the spine. So you inhale, lifting into the tailbone. And on the exhale, allowing the body to fold and drop forward. So gravity's taking over here. If it's tight on the back of the legs, you can bring a little bend into the knees. And if you want to come back to this open mouth exhale, you can do that too. So imagine with every exhale, you're releasing and letting go of anything that you don't want to hold on to anymore. So that might be energetically stagnation, or it might be frustration that's building, or anything at all really. You can visualize that it's melting away on the exhalation.
We've passed 2 minutes here. We only have 1 more minute left to go. Staying connected to this fullness of breath. Taking 2 more deep breaths like this. And then whenever you're ready, slowly pushing back into a tabletop position, you can bend the knees. And then we're going to move our prop towards the side. And making your way to a kneeling position. So, I'm going to practice just a couple minutes of meditation. So, in case you're wondering why we do this in a Yin practice, it's often said that Yin is the window to meditation. So not only are we learning stillness within the body, but we're also learning stillness in the mind. We're trying to encourage that they're both married together within the practice. So there's many tools that we can use to still the mind, the breath being one. But another tool which I'm going to introduce now is the use of mantras or repetitive words that can help to silence the chatter inside of us. So today, in our 2-minute meditation, we're going to use the words, I am enjoying this stillness within. And we're going to repeat that internally. So if you're finding a kneeling position uncomfortable, come to any seated position that you feel you can stay in for 2 minutes. The benefit of sitting in this kneeling way means that it does slowly stretch through the muscles in the thighs into the quads. But the most important thing is that you are comfortable. So either closing the eyes or having a low and soft gaze. And internally repeating to yourself, I am enjoying the stillness within. I am enjoying this stillness within. I am enjoying this stillness within. And continue to repeat that to yourself.
can slowly open the eyes. We're going to make our way into a pose called cow face. So we're going to move on to our bottoms. And so there's a couple of variations here. So the full pose or the full posture looks a little bit like this. We're crossing the left leg over the right. However, if you come into this position and you find that you're very much leaning over to one side, it's going to be more beneficial for you to straighten into the bottom leg. So, my left leg is bent and my right leg is straight. So just take a moment to check what feels like your challenge point, so where you'll find stretch but where you won't find pain. And then we're going to bring one of our props to hand, so that as we relax and release into the pose, we can let the head rest. So when we come into the posture, we're going to allow the whole of the body to relax and release. You can let the hands rest on the soles of the feet. So we're going to start with taking an inhale, grounding into the seat bones and finding length through your spine. And on the exhale, hinging at the hips, folding forward. So letting the head rest wherever the props may be. And we're going to be here for 2 minutes. So come back to this full torso breath. Breathing deeply through the whole of the torso. And observe all of the sensations that occur within your torso as you breathe deeply. Taking one more deep breath here. And then slowly making yourself back to an upright position. So you can move your prop to the side for a moment. And we're going to uncross the legs. And you can take a moment to move the body in any way it feels like it needs to do. But one thing that can be super nice is creating little windshield wipers with the legs. So just slowly rocking one side and then to the other. So we come into the opposite side again. So this time we're going to have the right leg over the left. So either the bottom leg is straight or bent, but we need to be on both seat bones here. So you can prepare your brick so that the head can rest on it, or your stack of blocks. Ground into your seat bones here. Find length through your spine. Inhale. And then in the exhale, hinging, folding forward. So coming back to a full torso breath, breathing deeply in through the whole of the body. Staying with this concept of the exhale being your releasing breath. Taking one more deep breath here. And then making your way back to an upright position. So you can uncross the legs, move the prop to the side, and we come back to this windshield wipe. So we're going to come into our lying sequence now. So if you want to move any props out of your way so that your mat is clear, and we're going to make our way to a lying position. So we're going to start with a recline twist. I'm going to cross the right leg over the left. And lifting the hips towards the right side to allow the right knee to fall towards the left side. So you can place the left hand onto the right knee, or if you prefer, you can bring both arms out to shoulder height. We're going to turn the head towards the opposite side. And come back to this full torso breath. As you breathe deeply, observe how this breath helps to open up through the side body. Allow the body to fully surrender and fully melt deeper into the mat here. We'll be here for a couple of minutes. So let the breath take over.
Taking 3 more breaths here. And then making your way back through to center. So uncrossing the legs. Just take a moment to find a neutral position for the body. And observe any differences between the right and the left side. And then when you're ready, we're going to come into the opposite side. So we're going to cross the left leg over the right, lifting the hips and bringing them towards the left side and letting the left knee drop towards the right. So you can take the right hand, place it on the left knee, and the opposite hand can come all the way so that it's in line with the shoulder. You can bring your gaze towards the left side and we come back to this full torso breath. Using the breath almost as a tool to massage into the body. So not only is the breath massaging into tensions, but it's also opening us up in spaces that we might not even realize we have perhaps blockages or stiffness there. Taking 3 more deep breaths in this position. And then coming all the way back through to center, uncrossing the legs. Coming back to a neutral position and taking a moment to let the spine settle. Checking any differences felt within the body between the right side and the left side. And we're going to make our way into a happy baby pose. So, as it's our yin practice, it's not required to be active or passive. So the full happy baby usually takes a hold of the big toes with the peace fingers, and we're encouraging the knees to come towards the armpits. But if this is quite difficult and challenging and not comfortable at all, you can take a hold of the back of the knees
with the hands. When we let the sacrum be heavy, we allow the whole of the back to be heavy. We're going to connect again to a full torso breath. I'd like you to explore sending the breath through the back of the body. As you breathe deeply into the belly, the ribs and the chest, trying to access the back of this part of the body, so the back of the belly, the back of the ribs and the back of the chest. So the breath is encouraging the body to ground and melt more deeply into the mat. And in turn the breath is massaging into the back, resting into the mat. Taking a few more deep breaths where you are. Allowing any further tension to melt out of the hips. And then slowly placing the soles of the feet back down to the mat. So we're going to set up for supported bridge pose now. And you're probably going to want to use one of your props. So that might be a cushion or perhaps a blanket or a pillow. I'm going to demonstrate with a yoga brick to begin with. So we're going to start with the feet bended, or the legs bended and the feet grounded. We're going to push into the feet to lift the hips, and then placing our cushion, our prop, underneath the sacrum here. And then letting that rest onto the prop. We're going to straighten into our legs and observe if you can feel any stretch in through the front of the hips. Just take a moment to pause and observe any sensations of stretching. If it's perhaps too intense, either stretch through the hips or even too intense of a curve through the spine. Then bending the knees again, lifting the hips and finding something that's less high. So if you're on a towel or a blanket, unrolling and perhaps making it half the distance. But if you couldn't feel the stretch, you might want to increase the height. So for example, with the yoga brick, it comes at different heights. So we've got the lowest height and we can increase the height. So we'd lift the hips again. So for you, that might be adding an extra cushion, an extra pillow. And we go through the same system. We straighten into the legs. And then observe for any stretches here. So if the stretch is too intense, we reduce the height. If there's no sensation of any stretching at all, we can step by step increase the height. And then you find this place where there is almost kind of a sense of equilibrium. So where you'll be able to relax, but also receive the stretch. And then allowing the body to settle here. So we're going to start to direct the breath towards the belly. Breathing deeply into the belly. Encouraging the breath to come towards the base of the belly, so the lowest point within the belly. And keep your awareness towards all the sensations within this part of the body as you breathe deeply here, allowing the muscles to melt and soften as you breathe deeply. So it's through the breath. And we can slowly unravel these layers of tension stored within the body. So you might even notice now how the breath helps to massage any tensions held here. I'm going to take 10 more breaths into the belly. Encouraging the breath to be low and deep, and encouraging the body to release with every exhale. Whenever you finish your 10 breaths, you can gently and slowly start to bend the knees. And then we ground into the feet. Lift the hips, engaging the core here to lift the hips. Slowly moving the prop from underneath your back, just to the side of your mat. And then let the spine settle here. So you can keep the knees bent. We're encouraging the spine to come into a neutral position. So it might take a little moment or two for the whole of the spine to settle back in towards the mat. So we're going to come back to a full torso breath. Breathing into the belly, the ribs and the chest. Using the breath to help you round the whole of the spine to the mat. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to slowly straighten into the legs to set up for our final Savasana. So if you want to perhaps even pause the video, you might want to get some socks or a blanket or a jumper. And whenever you feel settled, allowing the palms to face the ceiling, allowing the whole body to melt into the mat. And internally repeating after me. I am relaxing my feet. I am relaxing my legs. Allowing the entirety of my legs to melt into the surface beneath me. I relax my glutes, my hips. I relax the whole of my torso, so the sides of the torso, the belly. I relax the chest. And I allow the shoulders to melt into the mat. Allowing the arms to be heavy. Softening into the throat and throughout the face. So let the forehead be soft. The eye sockets be soft. Cheekbones, the jaw. The whole of the face, the whole of the body. Resting and melting. Staying here in this stillness, witnessing this peace. Whenever you're ready, you start to take deep breaths in towards the chest space. Letting the breath expand throughout the whole of the chest. Inhaling deeply and releasing with the exhale. Taking a couple more like this. And then gently starting to wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingers, maybe rocking the feet side to side. And in your own time, slowly awakening the body until you finally come to a seated position. So there's no rush. Making your way into your seat. And then we're going
going to finish practice with taking 3 more deep inhales and deep exhales. So on the exhalation you can sigh out as much or as little noise as you like. We're going to do this together. So inhale and exhaling. Inhale. Exhaling. One more time. Inhale. Bring the hands into prayer position, bowing the head towards the hands. Taking this moment to witness the stillness we have inside of us. It's always there, available to access if we choose to tap into it.